All right, welcome to the FNIA podcast. As always, we are presented by Lowe's. You know Coach Dungy, Rodney Harrison, Jac Collinsworth. Fellas, over in the NFC, just one spot remains. One spot remains up for grabs. It's in that division where it always seems like it's up for grabs going into Week 18. It's the NFC South. And you look at the game, it's Carolina, it's Tampa. You feel like this is a game that if Tampa just wins it, Coach, they'd be in. But with Atlanta now winning, all they have to do is beat New Orleans, and then the Panthers would be in. How do you see the South going into the final week here?
Well, it's very, very down in Tampa where I live. They feel like the fans do, that they blew their shot against Miami, beat a team that's out of it, take care of business, and then it's all on your shoulders. Now they have to rely on not only them getting it up and winning a game, but rely on New Orleans to help them out. So there's not a whole lot of optimism there. I think the Bucs can win this game. They have not played good football the last month. Their defense has not been good, but I think they can get it up and win this game. Whether New Orleans can beat Atlanta, I don't know.
And Coach, you know anything can happen with Atlanta. You already know that, right?
Oh,
but
yeah.
I expect Tampa Bay to win this game. I think Todd Bowles, he'll have the message to his veteran players as well as everybody in that locker room. Like, look, guys, we can't worry about what Atlanta's going to do. We have to go out here and take care of business. Whether that means we continue on in the postseason or we go to the offseason, we have to win this game with just positive vibes. So for me, I look at Baker Mayfield. He's been pressing, Coach. He's trying to do everything because he doesn't trust his defense. They have an array of experience. They have guys that have experience there, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I expect them to come out trying to score a ton of points to overtake their defense. But overall, I just think the message to Todd Bowles is, guys, forget about what happened the first part of the season. Let's win this game. This is something we can control, and whatever happens after that, Coach, happens.
I agree. And, we saw Baker Mayfield hurt his left shoulder about 4 weeks ago. I don't think he's been right since then. Standing there, throwing in the pocket on time, he's fine. But the plays that we've seen him make on the move, he's not making now. He's not going to use it as an excuse, but I really feel like that shoulder is bothering him. They've got to get their running game going and protect him, let him throw in rhythm, and I think they'll win the game.
Yeah. My worry with Tampa is, we've been saying this for a minute now. We've been saying, they're going to get it
8
right.
weeks.
7 out of 8 they've lost at this point. And it's not like they've been world beater teams the home stretch of the season. These are teams with losing records. You're thinking they just got to go get one. They just got to go get one. They're going to make the playoffs. They've been unable to do it. I think Carolina is better than these teams. So, Rod, why now? Why are they now going to be able to flip the switch?
Well, you look at Carolina, too, and I think the key for Carolina offensively is when they run the ball, their entire team gains confidence. You feel it in the defense, in particular in the secondary, where they're very aggressive with J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, and those guys. I like Carolina, but, Coach, Bryce Young, he scares me. This is a kid that can get hot. He's streaky. He can throw for 300 or 400 yards, or he'll come back and throw for 120 yards. I still like Tampa Bay, despite everything they've gone through.
No, Carolina's been up and down, and the key to them winning on the road would be getting their two-headed running game going where they don't put a lot on Bryce Young. Run the football, make Tampa panic a little bit. Hey, we're chewing up the time of possession. Baker feels like he's got to score every time, then he makes some mistakes. That's how they win the game. But I like Tampa in this game, just the veteran players at home in a big game.
Yeah. Okay, Rod, so let's get to a game nobody thought we'd be talking about, but all of a sudden we are going to be talking about it because it has a lot of relevance as it relates to that South Division. New Orleans at Atlanta. Atlanta had to win those last 2 for the Panthers to be in. They go do it at home against the Rams, look good in that game, and now they get a chance at home once again against New Orleans. How do you view this matchup?
This game could really go anywhere. I don't trust Atlanta. You don't never know what way Atlanta's going to show up. Are they going to be that team, that underdog that comes and beat Buffalo and beat the Rams? Or are they going to be a team that blew so many opportunities in the fourth quarter? So you never know what you're going to get with the Atlanta Falcons. I expect, hey, Coach, I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints won this game. I mean, this is a game that, they play hard. They believe in their coach, and yeah, they don't have a great record, but they still play really hard.
Yeah, Tyler Shuck he's balling for them, and he's making big plays. And I don't know, it hasn't been said for sure, but this could be Cam Jordan's last game as a Saint. They'll want to send him out with a win. He'll want to play well. They've got a lot of momentum going. And I think they want to show that they're building for the future. I was in that situation my first year in Tampa. We had a 5-10 record going into the last game. We're playing the Chicago Bears, and I challenged our guys. Hey, this game isn't for a playoff run, but let's pretend it is. Let's say, how are we going to do this if we are battling for a playoff spot? We went out there and won the game. 1 year later, we were in that exact same spot. If we won, we had a home playoff game. We had already prepared for it.
Hey, I live in Atlanta, and I tell you, I've been down here for a long time, and the Saints and the Falcons, this is a rivalry game. Every time they get together, it's a Saints takeover. All the Saints drive on down here, and half of the stadium is Falcon, half of it's Saints. They dislike each other, and they want nothing better. What is the race to 7-10? Is it 8? Is it going to be the Saints 7-10, or will the Falcons get to 8-9?
I think all the stuff is true on the Saints side. You know, Shuck played a lot of college football. He's got a veteran type mentality for a young quarterback in the NFL and played good college football. Now that's translating. But I think Atlanta, I mean, these guys are coaching for their jobs too, and a lot of them playing for their jobs. I've kind of liked what it's like with Cousins being in there. They're trying to save and at least give some optimism, a positive ending of the season, which really has been disappointing for them. Why not like the Falcons? Both you guys like the Saints. Why not like the Falcons?
Oh, no, I don't say I like the Saints. I just think the Saints are going to be loose. They're going to move the ball against Atlanta. Bijan Robinson, to me, is the best back in football. What I've seen him do out of the backfield, catching the ball, running between the tackles, running outside, breaking 95-yard runs. He's been phenomenal, and I think he's going to put up some big numbers on Sunday.
And that defense has done a great job of creating turnovers. We talked, we had him earlier this year. We talked about the great player, their safeties creating turnovers. And like you talked about, Bijan, Kyle Pitts is playing out of his mind. So if the Falcons decide to show up, the Falcons can play and beat anybody in the league. But sometimes they just don't show up, and we'll see what happens. But this game is a big game. This is a rivalry game. It's in Atlanta, so it's going to be off the chain.
Now, and the one thing I'll say, Jack, I'm watching the Rams-Atlanta game. Atlanta's dominating. They're playing great. They get a kick blocked. All of a sudden, it's a game now. They're up, 12 seconds left, and they blow a coverage, and the guy's wide open. He's going to catch a touchdown pass, and they're going to lose the game if Matthew Stafford just puts it on the money. So do we trust Atlanta? I don't trust them.
Okay. I don't trust them either.
Yeah, I don't think many trust either of these two teams. Speaking of trust, Carolina or Tampa, there's not a lot of buzz that either is going to make a Super Bowl run. I understand that. But if either gets in, who is more likely to have a chance to win a playoff game, to make a little noise, Rod? If either of these two teams gets in, who would you believe in?
It would have to be Tampa Bay, because I'm taking Tampa Bay to beat the Carolina Panthers. I keep relying on this offense and the veteran players and thinking that Baker Mayfield is going to get that connection back with them. And Bucky Irvin in the run game, he's back, he's healthy. But it just leads me to that defense. I can't trust that defense. They don't create any pressure. It's hard for them to stop the run. They just don't have a lot of great playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. So either one of these teams, whoever wins the division, they're going to be pretty much one and done when they face another NFC team, Coach.
Yeah, whichever team wins the division, they're going to play either San Francisco or Seattle. I don't see them, either one of those teams, winning that game. It just, Carolina running the ball with that two-headed monster and getting some takeaways. Maybe they can pull off an upset. They upset the Rams at home a couple of weeks ago. But I don't see either one of those teams beating San Francisco or Seattle.
Yep. I'm right there with both of you. All right, let's get down to Seattle and San Francisco then. That's the game you were just talking about. It's for the 1 seed. It's out there in San Francisco. There's going to be rain on both sides of Sunday, but last weather report I saw, it looks like they're going to get dry weather on Sunday. So knowing all of that, Rodney, who do you like in San Francisco for the top seed in the bye?
I like San Francisco, man. It's something about San Francisco, coach. Every time we go out there, whether it's a primetime game, it's a Sunday night game, they always find a way to step up. And despite the lack of big names on the defensive side of the ball, Kyle Shanahan has done a terrific job of kind of leaning on Christian McCaffrey. Brock he's stepped up. He's made a lot of crucial throws. The offensive line is playing well. The thing that really concerns me is Trent Williams. Will he be healthy? Will George Kittle be healthy? And, especially dealing with that front four, coach, that defensive front is tremendous.
That is my thought exactly. I would pick San Francisco all day if everything was normal. But two things bother me about San Francisco in this game. They've got the championship mentality, no question about it. They're at home. They should be favored. But if Trent Williams and George Kittle don't play, you can get away with that against the Bears defense. I don't know if you can get away with that against the Seattle defense that is going to dominate up front. And then the second thing was Sam Darnold. When have we seen him have problems? When you pressure him. This San Francisco defense lacks pass rushers. They don't pressure the quarterback well. This could be a game where Sam Darnold really feels comfortable, and he's a different guy when he feels comfortable. So I like San Francisco, but only if Trent Williams and Kittle are playing.
Yeah, which I would say is a big if. I mean, knowing Trent Williams, and I don't, a hamstring injury which occurred on the pick six, and he's trying to run it down. It's like, man, just never do that again, Trent. Like, I'd rather have you on the next series than you trying to run 15 yards behind the guys about to score anyway.
And Jack, think about this. Now he has to go up against DeMarcus Lawrence and Maye and all these pass rushers.
Problem.
I mean, it's going to be ridiculous. It is a problem.
Short week, yeah.
It's you like San Francisco. Here's the thing with San Francisco, and Coach, you mentioned it, the championship mentality. But what I worry about is, okay, so what really is that? Are we just saying Kyle Shanahan at this point? Because they're going to have Purdy. They're not going to have Trent. They may not have Kittle. They're not going to have Fred Warner. They're not going to have Nick Bosa. So what really does that mean with San Francisco right now?
Yeah, it is. It's the coach, but you're right. A lot of that championship mentality could be on the sideline not playing, and that could be a problem.
Yeah. Okay, but you still like San Francisco, Rod, despite all that. And, Coach, you're a little more on the fence of, I want to wait and see. Go ahead, Rod.
Well, I mean, anytime you can have either one or both of those guys, you want them. But, yeah, right now it's just my experience going out to San Francisco, how they do it, I don't know. They get pumped up. They feed off of the energy of Shanahan. The defense plays. They don't have any big name guys. I think this guy should be one of the top 2 or 3 coaches as far as coach of the year, the job that he's done.
Yep, I would agree. And I just want to see the inactive list before I make my pick.
Yeah. And Coach, I'm curious, how would you see that? Because Rodney and I had this conversation on Sunday night after the game too. Like Vrabel this year and completely turning around the Patriots. It's hard to argue with that. But what Shanahan has done with just a depleted roster that didn't start excellent this year, lost the guys that you could believe in. How does that factor into the coach of the year in your mind?
No, it does. I actually have a vote, and if the Niners win this game and get the number 1 seed, I'm going to vote for Kyle Shanahan. To me, that's amazing to have all of that adversity and come up with the number 1 seed and the best record in football, or best record in the NFC. I would definitely go with him. If not, if they come up a little bit short, then you have to look at the 2 turnarounds. Ben Johnson in Chicago turning a depleted franchise around, and Mike Vrabel turning the franchise around in 1 year. I'm not sure who I'm going to vote for, but if the Niners win, I'm voting for Kyle Shanahan.
So even if they win, Coach, they get that number 1 seed, but if they get bounced when they play, if they get bounced, are you going to still vote?
Yeah, it's a regular season award, so you go based on what you see in the regular season. Yeah.
And Coach, as you mentioned, it's a regular season award. I'm looking at Ben Johnson though. He's down below Mike McDonald, Liam Cohen, then Ben Johnson. You surprised by that at all?
I am. Well, the turnaround in Chicago has been amazing. Yes, Liam Cohen's done a good job. Mike McDonald has a chance to have his team as the number one seed. Look at Sean Payton, how far down he is. He's probably going to be the number one seed with a second-year quarterback. A lot of deserving candidates, but Mike Vrabel being at the top of the list with Kyle Shanahan doesn't really surprise me, Jay.
Yeah, like we were talking, and Roddy had some technical difficulties, so we'll check back in with him next week. Like we were talking, though, it's almost an emerging Coach of the Year award because if you look at Kyle Shanahan and the talent he's had, and then you look at Vrabel. Now Vrabel did a great job of paying new talent, bringing in guys via the draft, via free agency, and rebuilding this roster. So give him credit for that too. But it's almost like you have to come out of nowhere to really be at the top of that chart.
I think we do get impacted by that. Who's new? Who's done a really good job of getting their team going? We sometimes kind of discount the veteran coaches, the Sean Paytons, the Kyle Shanahans, who really have done a fantastic job. They've been there, and maybe they navigated a storm during that year, and we kind of overlooked that at times.
Yeah, fair enough. Another award that we're looking at here is the MVP race. And it felt like it was Matthew Stafford's to win, Coach. It felt like he was in the driver's seat, go beat Atlanta on Monday Night Football, and he's going to cruise to this Lifetime Achievement Award. But they lose that game. And he threw some ugly interceptions in that game. And now a flip in the odds, and Drake May becomes the favorite. Your thoughts on this whole situation here?
Yeah, a lot of people saw this latest game, and Matthew had one a couple of weeks ago in Carolina the same way, where he's cruising, dominating the statistics. Then he throws two interceptions, one pick six, and they lose the game in Carolina. Same thing in Atlanta. And people remember the last few things that they see. And they're going to forget those first 14 games when he was on fire and doing it, and probably discounting the fact that he didn't have Devontae Adams in these games, and that makes a difference too. But yes, Drake May has played well. We see the highlights. We see him and his numbers. Stafford maybe a little bit better numbers all the way around, but Drake May these last couple of games has been able to show his talents, and I think he's going to win it. I really do.
That's I think what this is going to come down to now, because May had the big showing on Sunday night, in particular the fourth quarter, to come back and to beat the Ravens. And so those primetime games, say whatever you want, they seem to weigh just a little bit heavier. But by the numbers, so Stafford's going to have thrown for more yards, potentially. He has more yards right now. He's going to have a big advantage in the touchdown department, as you just saw. A 12 touchdown advantage right now. Devontae Adams, a big reason why that is. Interceptions are identical. But Drake May will have a little bump and boost with his legs. With 409 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns, how does that weigh into it for you? Because Stafford has none of it.
Well, that part for me doesn't make a big difference, because I just think that's part of his game and it's not part of Stafford's game. But my last memory now, my last thought that's on my mind is Drake May running into the end zone for a touchdown, winning the ball game, and Matthew Stafford missing an open receiver that could have won the game. And I shouldn't think that way, but you're a victim of the last thing that you see, and that's where it's sitting right now. I think that's why those odds have flipped.
Do they tell MVP voters to weigh it any certain type of way? Like, does it come down to the numbers? Is the analytics the big, or do they just leave it open to interpretation?
No, you vote, and everyone has a different idea of what the most valuable is. A few years ago now, I split my vote between Rob Gronkowski and Bobby Wagner. They both missed some time during the season. When Gronkowski was out, the Patriots offense was middle of the pack. The games he played, they led the league. Bobby Wagner was in Seattle, and they were near the bottom. He missed 4 or 5 games. The games he played, they were number one. So I said, if you're number one when you're in there and you're at the bottom when you're out, you got to be the most valuable guy. And people looked at me, well, he only played 10 games. How can he be the most valuable player? He showed his value when he was in there. So, yeah, it's up to the individual voter, and everybody thinks a little bit differently.
To me, that's somebody who really knows football, lived in football, and somebody else who looks at a stat sheet and goes, well, he missed 4 games. How could you do that? All right, let's get on down, Coach. Let's go down to week 18. And the question is, sometimes you're in the playoffs, Your seed's locked in. Should you rest your guys or should you play them anyway and keep them in that mode as the playoffs approach? What's your philosophy on that?
My philosophy was always your job is to get your team ready for the playoffs, to be the best you can be in the playoffs. And sometimes maybe you've got a team that doesn't need rest. You're young, you haven't had a difficult year. Other times you do need rest. And the other thing you have to think about is if I get one of my key players hurt in a game that's meaningless, that can make a big, big difference. So I was a backup player with the Pittsburgh Steelers. When we got things clinched, that's when I got to play. Donnie Shell got to rest. I wanted him to rest because I wanted him to be fresh in the playoffs and win me a Super Bowl ring. So I took advantage of that. Coach Noel rested our guys when we could. Other times it hasn't worked out that well. Now, the bye throws in a different category now because if you rest and then you have a bye, now you've got an extended period of time where your guys aren't playing. You think about rust. But I remember back a few years ago, New England was playing a meaningless game in Houston. Wes Welker got hurt. And I thought to myself, why would you risk a player like that and not having Wes Welker in the playoffs in a game that doesn't really matter? That's what you have to balance as a coach.
If you do rest your guys, I mean, who do you think about starting? Is it just the key ones? Is it the quarterback? Let's put a backup in. Like, how do you think about who you can actually take out in the NFL roster?
That's the problem. That is the problem. Howard Muzz was my offensive line coach, and he said, if you're going to have Peyton Manning in the game, the starting 5 offensive linemen are going to be in. So you're not going to rest Jeff Saturday and Tara Glenn and have Peyton Manning in there with backup players. And that's kind of how it goes. You want to take care of the guys who really need it. Some guys want to play and they want to be out there and they'd rather not rest. But you have to make that decision and you have to protect as many guys as you can.
Yeah, it's a natural transition into the fact that Herbert's going to be resting here for the Chargers. The one seed in the AFC, go ahead.
Absolutely makes sense to me. He's got a broken bone in his left hand. Why would I risk him playing against the #1 pass rush in football when the game isn't going to matter? I'm locked into my seed. Yes, I need to save him and have him ready for the playoffs. And if he played, I would say that would be malpractice on Jim Harbaugh's standpoint.
And does it feel like if that's the case that Denver, that it's a wrap, that they'll go in there, lock this thing up, and that's
yes,
it?
It does. And you hate that. We had that situation in 2007. I was with the Colts. We were 13-2, I think, and we were playing Tennessee in the last game. The Cleveland Browns needed us to beat Tennessee, and Cleveland would get in the playoffs. Romeo Crennel was one of my best friends coaching at that time. And I wanted him to make the playoffs. But can I risk Peyton Manning getting hurt in a game that doesn't mean anything to us? I'm sorry. We lost the game. Cleveland didn't make the playoffs. Romeo eventually gets fired. If we'd have played our starters, they'd have been in the playoffs. And the thing I say about that is, I'm sorry, but you got to take care of your business when you have it, and you can't rely on other people because you don't know what other people need to do.
Is there any scenario where you want your guys to be in rhythm? Do you buy into all of that, or do you buy more into we got to rest up and get them healthy?
No, you absolutely do want to be in rhythm. The one year we went to the Super Bowl, we had to fight it all the way. We'd gotten upset in week 15. We had to win the last game to remain the #3 seed. We had to play a wild card game, and we maxed it out and went right to the Super Bowl. Years where we had things wrapped up early, we rested and didn't get it done. But still, you want to be healthy. You want to be ready to go, and rest is important, especially now in a 17-game season.
I'm with you. The longer it gets, the more necessary it becomes. And you really feel some of that attrition in this 15, 16, 17, 18. I mean, we've seen Trent Williams go down, George Kittle go down, Devontae Adams. I mean, key guys that get lost in this window. And it happens every year, Coach.
It does. And so if you're in a game where you've got to win it and that happens, last week San Francisco had to win and Trent Williams gets hurt. So you say that's part of the program. But say that game last week was meaningless and Trent Williams gets a hamstring injury. You just can't live with yourself as a coach if that happens.
Yeah, that's true. Let's get to a couple teams that there will be no rest for. The Ravens and the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. And the Ravens really catch a huge break just with the fact that they're still alive. With Cleveland beating Pittsburgh and giving them new life, first thing that pops into your head when we get here for this rematch is what, Coach?
Is I want to see the fourth quarter, and I want to see if Derrick Henry's in the game. We saw Baltimore have a game that they had in hand, they had the lead, and Derrick Henry's on the sidelines with us. We're standing there on the sidelines watching and saying, what in the world is going on? I promise you, if they have the lead and they're trying to run the clock out, Derrick Henry will be in the game on Sunday night.
I think it's on Harbaugh's mind now. Don't you think? I mean, after that game against Green Bay, he had sat there, he had took it, he had listened to it. There was no running back rotation when they got to Green Bay. You think that continues?
And I don't think there's going to be a rotation in this game either. Pittsburgh has had trouble stopping the run all year. They're going to pound Derrick Henry, hit some play action passes. Pittsburgh's going to have to gear up there. And I'm curious to see what Pittsburgh's going to do in the passing game. Baltimore's going to make those outside receivers beat them. And who can step up? Is it MVS? Is it Scotty Miller? Is it Calvin Austin going to be back in the lineup? Somebody's going to have to step up and make the plays that are missing with DK Metcalf facing that suspension.
Can they do it without DK Metcalf? They've been kind of such a one-man led passing game all year, Coach.
I'm not sure if they can. And to me, if that happens, I'm not even going to blame DK Metcalf. I'm going to say Pittsburgh security department, somebody's got to be behind that bench all the time. And how that could happen and you lose a star player that way, absolutely he shouldn't respond that way. Absolutely he shouldn't go back in the stands. But there's got to be somebody there on your security team that stops that from happening.
That's just paying attention to almost like a pullback coach. Like when the coach walks on the field, he pulls right back.
Everybody has a coach up there to keep everybody back off the white line. There's got to be somebody behind that says, yeah, these fans, you go to Philadelphia, you go to some of these places, you have to have people back there to keep your guys away from them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, that's a good idea. Let's see what else you want to talk about with this game. Maybe just the futures of both these guys. And, first instinct is that they'll both be back. But if Harbaugh or if Tomlin were to lose this game, there's going to be some noise. You think no matter what, they're both back? Or how do you view the future of these franchises?
It's amazing to me. I'm reading these stats, Jack. This will be the 40th time these two have played against each other, Harbaugh and Tomlin. And they've got Super Bowls, and they've got all of these resumes. And we're sitting here saying, well, if they lose this game, it might be time for him to move on. That's the world we live in, and it's a reality. And I could see it happening. Do I think it should happen? No. But that's the world we live in.
Yeah. Do you think Lamar Jackson plays?
I think Lamar is going to try to play, and I don't know where he is. The one thing we do know is they have confidence in Tyler Huntley. So if Lamar is there and you can't move, which is his number one asset, then I'm going to keep him out just for the team's goodwill. I know Lamar wants to be there. Yes, he should be there. But if he's not 100%, Tyler Huntley can run this offense.
If Lamar plays, does it drastically change how you call this game?
I don't think so. I think Huntley does a lot of the same things. And to me, I'm pumping it to Derrick Henry, whether you or I are playing quarterback. It doesn't matter. Derrick Henry is going to test this defense and pound them and see if they can deal with him. And that it's, what are we saying, 17-degree weather? See if anybody wants to tackle him.
Yeah, we've seen Aaron Rodgers play in the cold for his whole life, so we know that he can do it. But now without DK, we'll see what that looks like. Who should be the favorite in this game? If you were saying typically the home team, they give them a little boost. Who should be the favorite? Who should be expected to win this game, Coach?
I think Pittsburgh should still be the favorite at home, and they've got some running game too. And Baltimore's defense, we've seen them be up and down. I know they're going to concentrate on clogging up the center of the field, stopping the run, taking away the inside throws, make Rodgers throw to his outside guys. But I still think Pittsburgh should be favored a little bit at home.
The AFC North coming down to Week 18. Baltimore, who started 1-5, Pittsburgh, who shot out of the gates and then came back to reality a little bit. They meet in Pittsburgh, as it was always meant to be. Winner is in. They'll host a playoff game. Loser, Thanks for coming out. We'll see you in 2026.
One game knockout. I love it.
One game knockout.
And we'll be there.
We will be there for Sunday Night Football. Coach, I can't wait to see you in Pittsburgh. Happy New Year to you, the whole fam.
Thank you. You guys too, Jack. And we're going to have a great one Sunday night.
Yes, sir. See you, Coach.
All righty.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.